Okay, so my video essay is going to be on Tokyo Ghoul. I have not read the series. I've only read the first manga that was assigned to us in class, and I enjoyed it. I think there are some things I would like to critique though, and then I'll also talk about some things that I like about it. Now, I haven't read. I'm completely new to manga, so I have not read other manga, especially not in the thriller/horror genre that this book takes place in. So I won't really be like talking about its references to that and stuff, but I do have a lot of horror movie knowledge, and that is kind of where I'm going to be approaching some of my criticisms. And so I do have, as one of my academic sources, I have the National Film Institute, and they have this article on cliches in horror movies, and they make the point that you don't want to have, you can use tropes in your films, and I think this obviously applies to not just the medium of movies and TV shows, but also applies to mangas and um, literature and stuff like that. They say that to make good art in this medium, you shouldn't rely on a trope too heavily to the point where like things become predictable in the story. And I tend to agree with that. And they say that more original work will come from subverting um, tropes. So I think there's a few moments that are too predictable in Tokyo Ghoul. So this book mainly serves as a moment to get an exposition to the characters and establish um, ghoul society versus human society, and our main character how they become half ghoul, half human. And so I think the first thing that's predictable, the first trope is when he's at the diner with his friends and he talks about how he has a date with this one girl. I think it's clear that that is the time where, like, I predicted in my head when I was reading that, I was like, okay, this is where our main character is going to get his powers or turn to a ghoul or something, or something's going to go wrong here. And sure enough, that's what happened. So I think that that's one moment that was kind of a flaw. Like, you don't want to get predictable like that. And I think another moment that was kind of predictable is that, once we've established that ghouls operate in human society just like other humans and they blend in, I think and since obviously they go to school and all his friends are at school, so I think having a teacher that's a ghoul is kind of a predictable moment in the book too. So I think that that's a knock against it and a criticism I would levy to the first book in Tokyo Ghoul series. Now, some moments that I think kind of subvert tropes or at least are more original. I think the fact that our main character is not that he's half ghoul, half human, because there's been tons of, especially animes, as we've learned in this class, of like the main character operating in both like either the spiritual realm and the human realm, or they're like half god, half human. I think that this is similar to that. Obviously, he's half monster, half human, and but I think the way that he gets it, the incidental nature of it. So obviously, the girl he's going on a date with, they're walking, and then she gets hit with some like construction work from a skyscraper or something, and they're both rushed to the hospital. And the doctor makes the last second decision to take her organs and put it into his, not knowing that it's going to turn him half ghoul. I think that that's a pretty creative aspect and something that I'm going to remember and that I particularly liked about this book. So in the mini lecture Ghosts and Ghouls, I think we learn about how Christianity and other religions are present in a lot of Japanese culture, especially in their manga and anime. And in this book, I don't really see any of that. And in the Magical Girls and Censorship mini lecture, we learn about magical girl tropes, and in challenge number one, we were supposed to identify a bunch of them in the Sailor Moon first book, first manga. And I think I've identified a few tropes in horror films that were present in Tokyo Ghoul. So that's how So, tropes are not unique to the magical girl genre or anything like that. And I think the mini lecture titled A Quieter Kind of Monster, I think that brought to our attention that, monsters don't have to be the traditional zombie or something very action filled and that's going to create a lot of action in a story or plot line. There are also like more silent ones and stuff like that, or certain characters that are like neither good or bad. But I think in this, I mean, there is some moral ambiguity between ghouls and humans, but I do think that ghouls are clearly monsters. I think that they definitely create a lot of action. I think that's one of the things I liked about this book is the action scenes. There's a lot of good art there, especially in the faces. A lot of them stuck in my head. That were very actually kind of creepy, and even though it was black and white, I kind of wish it was in color, so I could see more details. But yeah, so these are definitely not a quieter kind of monster, and the ghouls here are definitely evil. I think the fact that they eat human flesh is also good. So I think that this book or this series is kind of similar to, um, you know, other monsters such as like vampires. I think vampires, blending into society, but like at night they kind of hunt humans for their blood. I think that's similar to what ghouls are. Obviously, ghouls eat flesh and drink coffee, but I do think that there are similarities there, and that's another thing to point out. But overall, I think the book was, or the manga, it was good. I don't think I'm gonna read the rest of it. Um, or if I do, I'm gonna have to find some free way to do it because this book I got from Barnes and Noble was like 13 bucks, and I can't. And it only took me 45 minutes to read, I think. So I'm not gonna be spending $10 plus for 45 minutes as a broke college student. But overall, it was good. I think in the description of this video, I'm going to list my sources um, um, from the National Film Institute, obviously, and the mini lecture series that I cite, and Tokyo Ghoul, obviously, and the scenes that I cite from that. But I think that's it.